The master engineer. Provided you can make something that won't blow up. Oh, you do have something? Wait 1 minute. Okay, go ahead. Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. We're taking a look at another Generation 1 Transformer from 1984. This is Wheeljack. Wheeljack would also be available in 1985. He would be discontinued in 1986. Wheeljack served primarily as a mechanical engineer. And while he could help repair the Autobots from some of their battle damage, Wheeljack was more useful at inventing different weapons and gadgets for them to use. Let's face it, in the cartoon he was always creating different things and was primarily responsible for building the Dinobots. Wheeljack's mostly remembered for the fact that these protrusions here on the sides of his head would glow every time he spoke. So it gave him a rather unique appearance. That was at least one of the things that many fans that saw the live-action Bumblebee were certainly able to appreciate, that the filmmakers did go to some attention to detail, as Wheeljack was one of the first ones to speak, and they definitely showed the sides of his head flashing as he spoke. Now, of course, Wheeljack, being one of them from 1984, has had several toys brought in over the years. I have a couple here that I will get out. Like, for starters, here's the Earthrise version, which was a nice modern interpretation of this version. The only real downside to him was that he only came with one of his weapon instead of two, like the original. And then, of course, lately, one that we haven't quite reviewed yet, or maybe we have, depending on when I get this posted, is Origins Wheeljack. This is a Target exclusive from the Legacy United line, and it basically covers how Wheeljack looked in the first episode of the animated cartoon from the 80s. So this has him in his Cybertronian alternate mode. And yes, it can even carry Bumblebee in the back section. Now, of course, Wheeljack here does have a fair amount of accessories that we need to cover. So we'll start here with his missile launcher. As you can see there, Wheeljack has two missile launchers on him. They are non-firing, at least on my example. There is no firing at all on them. So they've been totally neutered. There's also no give to insert the missile. And of course he has these missiles. Wheeljack comes with 4 missiles. There's one right here. Do a Hitchcock-like profile. There's number 2. And then here's 3 and 4. You can see there on the camera, there's 4 missiles. They are very plain, to say the least. They like to roll away too, because there's nothing really to stop them. Wheeljack also has 2 trans-clear plastic wings. There is a right and a left one, because on the one side there is the detail on it, and you can feel it as you rub your fingers over it. And on the opposite side, it is entirely smooth. So that you will have to check if you are buying a loose sample. And then lastly, for his accessories, Wheeljack has a 2-piece spoiler. Now, this is going to look a little different on some of them because the 1985 version added the rub sign and it was put on this side of the spoiler. So instead of it having the Lancia and Alitalia logos, it will have the rub sign instead. And that covers all of Wheeljack's accessories. Get this other one off, out of the way. We'll take a look at his articulation, and like most Transformers, it's limited to his arms. His arms can rotate all the way at the shoulder, but the door kibble tends to get in the way. But you can also turn his head from side to side due to the way it's set up. Okay, to transform Wheeljack, it's a relatively simple process. Start by taking his head and we will rotate it around. Raise his arms up, and fold in this section that has his hand, and then you slide it into place. Let's get the other one. The other one up there. You have to wiggle the head or adjust things a little bit to get it to go in, but there we go. And you'll come down here to the midsection, you'll fold up and slide in the sides of the car. Down here to his legs, you'll press the legs together, fold them up, fold down those panels, we'll raise the windscreen so it doesn't catch. Then slide the legs up and fold down the windscreen. Then all that's left to do is reattach the spoiler. And then there you have it. Wheeljack transforms into a rally car. He's based off of an actual rally car from the late 70s. Of course, he's also got this fake logo plastered all over him. Alitalia is really for it to be Alitalia, which is an Italian airline. And to go along with showing that off to you folks, I do have a set of the Japanese instructions. So that you can get a look at how the stickers were a little different on him. It's like right here, the chest had the number upside down, which is how it would look on the normal car. But as you can see, that's been replaced with a different sticker for Lancia, and it also has the Autobot insignia. Of course, the instructions also show here that the missile launchers fired on the Japanese toy. But it also comes with this set of instructions also came with a different set of decal instructions. There was a second one done, and as you can see, it says Marlboro, which is basically a play on Marlboro cigarettes. Naturally, Hasbro did not allow us to have that, since they knew smoking cigarettes was bad to tell kids. Of course, we all know smoking cigarettes is hazardous to your health. They print labels on it all over the place. It's especially bad for your health if you're standing in a lake full of gasoline, or pushing a car that's been inflated with hydrogen. But the Marlboro one would eventually get shown the light of day as fans became aware of it. While it doesn't have the Marlboro logo on it, the design has been done up, and versions of Wheeljack that are done that way are known as the character Exhaust. Exhaust works for the Decepticons, and supposedly is plagued with a nagging cough. Wonder where he got that from. Maybe he needs to have a word with his sponsor. At any rate, how does Wheeljack roll here on this table? Fairly good. It's not perfect. Partially due to the fact that there really isn't a whole lot of clearance under the front of the car due to this bit of plastic underneath the front end. Now, you can also store the wings under the car as well if you'd like. I personally don't do that, but hey, that's your choice. And now we'll take a look here at his tech spec card. It's got a picture of Wheeljack, which would basically match the one on the front of the box. It's done up in red to say he's an Autobot. Even says it above the picture. It gives his name as Wheeljack. His function is mechanical engineer. And there's a quote supposedly from Wheeljack that says, "Never do what your enemy expects you to do." Wheeljack is the mad scientist of the Autobots, always inventing new weapons and gadgets. They don't mention how often those fail and blow up in his face. Most adept at driving while in car mode. Likes to show off his stunts. Flying range of 800 miles using solid fuel rockets in arms. Shoots magnetic inducer, shrapnel needle, and gyro inhibitor shells from his shoulder cannons. He is his own worst enemy, often injured while experimenting with new weapons. And then we move on over here to the grid. And normally you would need a red decoder to read it, but I'm able to see it pretty well. It gives his strength as 7, his intelligence is 9, his speed is 7, his endurance is 5, his rank is 8, his courage is 9, his firepower is 7, and his skill is 10. So Wheeljack is definitely a good ally for the Autobots. So now we get down to what do I think of Wheeljack. Wheeljack is certainly a character. And I think I was probably most sad to see him be killed off in the events of Transformers the movie. However, this toy, the original one, it's surprisingly one of the few that I actually like. It is decent and sturdy. The only real downside to it is it does have a fair amount of loose parts. And like I said, the spoiler being somewhat different on the 1985 release does make that a little bit of a challenge to dispute what year your toy was released. Oh well, there really isn't much that can be said about that. Unless anybody does have an 85 version and would like to compare it. But other than that, I think it's a pretty good toy. The biggest things you really got to watch out for with him are mainly white wear on the paint, on his paint, since him being white, he does tend to yellow over time. And that's my review of the Generation 1 version of Wheeljack. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please do remember that if you love the content we feature on this channel, I would enjoy a like, a share, and a comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. This is Sparkster1701 saying I'll catch you all later.